I'm Jeff Berlin. I'm a DP based in Los Angeles. So not too long ago, I sat down with Art Adams to discuss creating our own project to explore further what the impression filters were doing. We went ahead with that and created 8 different scenarios to showcase how the filters would affect different environments. Some of them, like the moon and Tokyo and this restaurant and the subway, they all convey different feelings. And then when you apply these filters, it just takes it further. It was very interesting to me how I could fuse into an image my identity and play with the different strengths as well to create different effects. Some that might be more painterly and impressionistic, others that take down the resolution but still give a good edge to your backgrounds while still maintaining a beautiful skin tone and a beautiful skin texture, for example. What the 70 positive impression filter allows me to do is give to the face of the model or actor exactly the effect that I want to clean up the skin and to have a super flattering look, and make sure that that look stays throughout the post pipeline, that my intent for how I want my actor's skin to look will always remain no matter what. So this is the moon. What we thought was really interesting about this background was, of course, the way the star field would be affected by the various strengths of the filters. But at the same time, this weird, planet had like weird rocks on it, and the rocks are also affected in really interesting ways by the filters as well. From the positive that give it a little bit more of a washed look to the negative, which brings out some of the edges more. And you can see as we progress from the positive filters into the negative filters and back and forth, the way the stars are affected. They become softer and they become a little bit more edgy. And it's interesting to see too how our model Ruby is affected by the different strengths of the filters from positive to negative and what it does to her skin and face. The museum is a really fun scenario where you can see some really great effects of how the filters are affecting the image. If you look at the columns and some of the sculptures and even the windows, you'll see how the filters are affecting those elements in the frame. And of course, again, positive versus negative on our model Ruby's face. With the positive, we can see how the columns and the sculptures, the edges are blurring and it's a little bit more dreamy, it's a little bit more abstract, versus the negative where you're seeing finer, more defined edges and a little bit more detail in the color elements. I think that's a really interesting disparity. This New York City subway scene is one of my favorites out of all of them. Besides the fact that I just love the cyan overall tone to it, just brings me right back to New York. To me, this was all about Ruby and how she looked. So we smoked up her eyes, we put her in a vintage t-shirt, we had her kind of strap hanging on a pole in there. Moving through the filters, I just loved going from the 70 positive, which just, again, she just looks really beautiful in that filter, and then just taking it all the way to the 330 positive, which kind of gives this super cool, dreamy look to the whole car. And while she still looks beautiful, it just kind of takes New York City subway to the next level. It's super cool. Tokyo is just the most extraordinary place. And so when Art and I first started discussing this project, I immediately thought we have to have a Tokyo scene. It's so visual. As you progress through the filters, you can really see how all the letters and the characters and everything and the textures in the background change as the different filters are applied to the image. Tokyo is like a dream. And so, you go into the most powerful 330 positive filter and you're in this dream world of Tokyo with purple light in her hair and red light coming from behind. And we've got Ruby lit by all these super cool colors. And she's against this really amazing background that it takes what's already interesting and gives it life. So the restaurant to me was the big surprise of this whole project because it was unplanned. I was literally at dinner one night and I turned around and looked at the room and I said, oh my goodness, this room is going to be the perfect way to convey the effects of the filters. So I literally rotated in my chair, snapped a few photos, and then here we are. So what I found as we applied the different levels of filters, it took us from what is a really pretty shot of Ruby in a restaurant setting where she looks like she's sitting in this restaurant to an impressionist painting, where if you look at how specifically the 330 positive filter washes into the leaves and the lights and the textures in the background, all of a sudden we're transported into 1880s France, and I think it's extraordinary. We decided to do a focus rack to see how the filters would appear during, a change in your focus point. We used the Tokyo background because the Tokyo background had so many linear points of interest. Like there were so many linear elements in there that would show the effects of what the filters would do. As we rack to Kimberly, what we're seeing with the negative filter is how beautiful the softness becomes in the background while still holding some of the edge detail. And yet Kimberly has a beautiful softness with a little bit less glow than you would see with the positive filters. What I really love about what I'm seeing here under the soft light is how Kimberly's skin is truly radiant with the positive filters. Keep an eye on her earrings as we switch to the negative filters now. And what we're seeing in her skin tone is a similar softness that's super flattering, and yet a little bit less of a dreamy feel. I love when a face can take a hard light. And hard light can sometimes be unforgiving. And so what I'm really liking about what I'm seeing here is that with the positive filters, they're introducing this beautiful softness to her skin texture while really flattering glow to her skin tone. What I'm finding with the skin tone is a more subtle effect, less dreamy than what you find with a positive filter. So one of the things, what I love about the positive filter and the way it affects faces is that it holds contrast and keeps the black levels where they are, but it introduces this beautiful glow to the skin. The fact that we have filters now that bring out beauty under an unforgiving light, that's really transformative. What the impression filters are allowing me to do is infuse the image with the photographic intent that realizes the vision that I, as a cinematographer, want to impart into that image. My sensibility will carry through into that final product.